Hi, this is Joe Jacobson at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
This is the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Independent we are.
It is, yes. I like you playing Joe Jacobson. Relevance with Wales playing tonight as well.
Thank you. Nice review to kick off the show. Coming up in the next hour, we'll be hearing from manager Gareth Ainsworth and David Stockdale reflecting on the 0-0 draw at Portsmouth last Saturday.
Stocko. That's what you have to say when you mention Stocko's name.
I see.
A bit like Stato from Fantasy Football.
Oh, I get
For those who remember.
Thanks for explaining.
Yes. Your mate David Baddiel.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Another reference. Also, we'll be reflecting on the Cup exit on Tuesday night.
Yeah. I didn't see that one coming particularly. Going down to Ascot on penalties, but you have to say fair play to Ascot for taking it so seriously and getting through to the final.
Yes. And also we'll be heading back in our time machine to the 2007 to 2009 seasons where Scott McGleish was firing in the goals. Some spectacular ones as well. I was just watching one a little earlier against Chesterfield. And
impressively, he's still playing, which when you're our age, that's quite good. It makes you feel like, I don't know, there's hope that maybe we could still be footballers.
If we could revive our careers, if we have had one. No, fantastic. At the age of 48, he's still playing and has played for so many clubs. We'll be looking at some of them and hearing some great stories from him as well.
Looking forward to that. And we have part 2 of my chat to Rob Couhig 2 weeks ago today. I was in Louisiana chatting to Mr. Couhig. We will be finding out his thoughts on stadium redevelopment and also on whether he's ever been tempted to part company with Gareth Ainsworth.
All that and more to come in the next hour here on the Wycombe Wanderers Show. But first, let's take you back to Fratton Park on Saturday. And obviously Portsmouth, one of the teams who, they've been a bit kind of up and down, haven't they, in their form of late as well. But I think
it's fair to say you never quite know what you're going to get with Portsmouth.
That's right.
You either get a sort of stunning victory where you think, I'm surprised they beat them, or they don't seem to be doing that well. And 0-0 against Portsmouth again. Well, not a bad result, but again, really, we do need to start winning, guys. I'm pleased enough with the point, but
brilliant tip as well.
We do need
to start winning.
At this stage of the season, particularly I think it's just when you look at teams like Plymouth who have now won their last 5 matches in a row, and it's like, that's what you need to do at this stage of the season when it's March and we're beginning to look, and goodness me, let's remember as well, the season ends at the end of April. It's slightly earlier than normal this year, so we haven't actually got that many games left, and this is where you want to start putting in that sort of like unbeaten run.
I was going to say, you look at the other teams around us and you think, they're not dropping points. If they were dropping points as well,
it's exactly that. Yeah. I think you look at it, and there aren't many L's in the in the teams, and I mean the WLD bit. There aren't many L's in the teams. In fact, the only ones that sort of like appear to be struggling at the moment are Rotherham, and they're clear enough anyway to not really have to worry.
They can afford it.
So we definitely need a few more W's on the board in a Plymouth Argyle type way. That said, of course, we have done well, and we are now on an unbeaten spell, and it's a good way to bounce back from obviously the slight dip in form that we had sort of a month or so ago.
And the Cowleys have obviously got the team well organised, and as you'll hear in a few moments' time as well, their goalkeeper got man of the match.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, that's where you see, we were obviously dominant, just the fact that we had so many shots on goal, and the fact that he was man of the match, well, you have to slightly say, well, fair enough, okay.
That does seem to typify recent displays as well. A lot of shots in recent games.
Yeah, so suddenly the stats have slightly turned themselves on their head, haven't they? Whereas normally you would sort of expect to maybe see it the other way round. Actually, Wycombe are dominating the stats charts at the moment. Lots and lots of shots, lots of chances. We just need to put a few more of them actually in. And then I think actually the top 6 is definitely achievable by the end of the season.
Pretty tight at the back as well. I've not conceded too many goals at all.
That's another good thing, isn't it? And, Stocko being absolutely fantastic at getting the clean sheets. So things have improved dramatically, when you look back on the poor run and, some of the crazy results we had. You think back to the 5-5 and whatever. Well, that hasn't happened again. But at the same time, we do need to start scoring a few goals, but we're definitely doing the right thing at the back.
Oh, excellent assessment, I'd say. So let's hear it from manager Gareth Ainsworth, who spoke to Phil after the game. 0-0, as we say, everything but goals, really.
How it's 0-0, I'll never know. Their keeper's man of the match, and rightly so. He's made some fantastic saves. Came for a lot of crosses, came for a lot of corners, and that save against Lewis Wing's free kick is phenomenal. So the power of that was enough to take it in. But that's why he's an international, and fair play to him. But I don't think Pompey had a shot on target today, which is great. It's great testament to the way we're playing at the moment, the way that the boys are staying solid, resilient. The wind was howling today. First half we definitely had it with us, and we knew that Portsmouth would have it second half. But again, the boys adapted really well, and again we created the better chances second half. So real blood, guts, and thunder as predicted. Just a shame we couldn't finish it off today, but. I don't think it's too damaging that, looking at the results today, and the top teams can go and have their own private battle, but there's definitely 3 places to be absolutely scrapped for, and as long as we're in that, which we are, it's a brilliant place to be.
Ruining those missed chances given the backdrop of the results elsewhere today?
A little bit, but you can't come to Portsmouth and expect just to win. You've got to earn the right, and we just didn't hit the target at the right times, and when we did, Bazuna was equal to it, and unfortunately it just didn't drop at the end there. The pitch is in fantastic condition, by the way. It's a real good pitch to play on, and I thought we played the better stuff. Gareth McCleary, Jason McCarthy linking up really well. Darryl Horgan, fantastic game from him, and just missing that killer touch, and that happens sometimes. But we'll regroup now. The lads will have some days off because they need to recover, both physically and mentally, and all the boys who aren't playing mentally, I've stretched them as far as they can frustration wise. They need some time off, and they need to know that when it comes back, we've got 7 games to go, clean slate, let's go. Whatever decisions I make now, let's get behind the boys, because all anyone wants to do at this club is get promoted, me included, and it would be a fantastic achievement for this club. I know we were there last year, but honestly this would be a fantastic year, probably eclipsing what we did, because this is a huge league this season. Some of the teams in this league, and the season really is split into 2, hasn't it? It's a bottom and a top. There's no real middle ground in this league, and I think it's going to be the highest points total ever for a playoff, and I think it's going to be the lowest total going down. It's a real split league, but the calibre of teams in it is making it that way, and just glad we're at the right end.
And another clean sheet too.
Another clean sheet, which is great. That's 4 in the last 5, is it? Yeah. So losing all my stats here. The boys, I said to the boys, there's 9 games to go the other day. There's only 8. I'm all over the place, but there's 7 to go. I know that now. And when we get back, we've got 7 cup finals. If we can keep clean sheets in them all, we've got a hell of a chance. I'm looking forward to it now, but I'm also looking forward to maybe just a couple of days off, because it has been really intensive. Can I just say thank you to the fans today who travelled here, because you are absolutely fantastic. You outsang Portsmouth at times, which never happens, but I think that tells the tale of how this Wycombe side now is really turning heads. Yeah, not bad for a long ball team, eh?
Not bad for a long ball team. That was nice. And also join us in next week's show when you find out what Gareth and the team do on their days off.
Yes, because he said that a few times. Almost as if he was sort of like just seeking a bit of reassurance from Phil. So is it all right? We're going to have a few days off. Is that okay? Oh yes, that's fine. What he says about the table as well, when you look at the table, is absolutely right. And the games that we've got to go very much sort of like fall in pretty much to 2 categories of, we're either playing the teams that are around us, or we're playing the teams right down the bottom. So Doncaster obviously being the next home game on the 2nd of April. Then we're away to Cambridge, who are towards the bottom, but probably just about have got enough points, or maybe need a few more just to make sure that they're safe. Then Gillingham, who are just above the relegation zone, away. So that's going to be tricky.
Of course.
Then Plymouth, who obviously keep winning.
That's Good Friday, isn't it?
That's Good Friday. They come to town. Then AFC Wimbledon away, who are struggling. Tickets for that go on sale tomorrow, by the way, to season ticket holders.
Their new ground.
Their new ground, exactly. So the tickets are being restricted to season ticket holders only first, because I think they're probably thinking that actually lots of us fancy going to that and ticking off another ground, which, yes, I definitely put my hand up for that one. Then Sheffield Wednesday away, Sheffield Wednesday at home, and then Burton Albion away. Burton probably, again, a bit of a Cambridge, probably just about safe.
Sheffield Wednesday at home.
But Sheffield Wednesday at home, the penultimate game of the season, last home game of the season. We hopefully we can sell that one out and actually make the atmosphere fantastic. To
that could be a real 3-pointer.
Yeah, that could be a real 3-pointer, couldn't it?
Also, David Stockdale, of course, doing very well at the moment with his clean sheets. It's important to have clean sheets, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Especially on away games. And he's top of the tree, I think, joint with the Portsmouth goalkeeper as well.
Oh, is he? What for clean sheets?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
He spoke to Phil afterwards as well.
Yeah, I felt we controlled everything real well today. We looked on top from the start. We didn't hold up. I mean, there's a bit of a wind you might be able to see, but in the first half we got on top of them. We played some great stuff, and then the second half they came out as you would do, and we looked comfortable all game, and to create chances that we have done as well. So it's not a great day, but it's a good day all round.
It's a great place to play football. The atmosphere was great, and you were enjoying a bit of to and fro with the fans as well on the Fratton end.
Yeah, I always do that because that's what they come. They come for a bit of fun, and sometimes when your team's not scoring, it's best to give a bit of stick to the goalie. So yeah, might as well give it back, and it was all in good jest.
Have you had a look at the other results today? Because a lot of draws in and around Wycombe in the table today.
No, a few people said I don't usually look at it till there's 2 games to go, or someone says you can't do it. We've just got to concentrate on ourselves, put as many points on the board, and I'm pretty sure that I've been told that there's some fixtures coming up for other people against teams like this, and for us to be drawing against top of the league and Portsmouth, who are in a good vein of form, we just got to win the games as many as we can, and if you're keeping clean sheets and creating chances, I'm sure we'll have a good chance.
5 games now unbeaten, 3 wins, 2 draws, 4 clean sheets now. That's really good form for this stage of the season when it really matters.
Yeah, I mean, like, looking back now, we had that bumpy period, and it was always belief, like, things will turn, working hard. We work hard all the way through the season, but you just have to put that extra 5 minutes in on a set piece, or the manager will keep us in, or like today there's a few of the lads that paid out their own pocket to come and stay, even though it's not an overnight stay for the club, just to do things right, because the gaffer's asking us to do everything we can, so that's what we're doing.
And with a weekend off now because of the international break, with Wycombe with momentum, is that a pain, or is that something that you can sort of relish and have a break?
It can go both ways sometimes. I've always been at clubs that after you come back stronger, but running into that break with the vein of form that we've been in, I think it gives everyone a rest, and you're not coming back with, not pressure, but you're coming back with that impetus to kick on. Sometimes when you go into it on a bad period, you can't wait to get back, and you don't really relax and do everything you need to do and spend time away from football sometimes.
And also away from football, there's a charity drive in Wycombe to do with the situation in Ukraine, and that's something that you're getting involved with as well. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I seen it on Wycombe Sound that they was looking for donations to go over and just look after people in need in Ukraine in a dire time. So I got in touch. We was trying to get down to do a bit of support, but I'm going to be donating money, and hopefully people can take a look at it and donate what they can, and sometimes people can't, but I'm in a fortunate position where I can help people, and just having that thing in my mind that I'm helping people that are in a time that nobody of my generation has experienced in a few generations, so it kind of got to me, and I wanted to help in some way, shape or form.
Really nice of David Stockdale to support the campaign in that way as well.
Thank you for mentioning us as well. 1-3, that was very nice.
Yeah, really nice.
Stoggo. We're very impressed.
So moving on to Ascot United, the semi-finals of the Berks and Bucks Senior Cup, played at the racecourse.
Indeed, yeah, a crowd of 1,267, which was a record for the racecourse. Not the actual racecourse, like for when it's Ascot, but you know, like the football team.
Of course.
A 0-0 draw. The game went straight to penalties. We only scored one of ours. Ascot scored 3, so they went through. And you know, fair enough. On a penalty shootout, you have to take your chances and whatever. But even so, you know, full credit to Ascot United for clearly, you know, putting out a decent team. So we put out 7 regular players, and then the rest were all trialists, so it wasn't exactly a full strength side, but even so, you know, we had Solly Kai in there, Jack Grimmer, exactly,
Chris Freno,
yeah, Adam Prisbeck. So you know, it was a fairly decent, decent side. A good game by all accounts. But yes, Ascot going through on penalties. So they are through to the final of the Berks and Bucks Senior Cup. And
leaving Wycombe to focus on the league.
Indeed, yes. Yes, it's one of those things that actually once you're out of the cup, it's not really important, is it, the cup? But I think it's been really nice that actually we have taken it seriously and we have been in it, and I like to see it being taken seriously because also, just it supports non-league football, which is a really, really important thing and really, really good. So, well done to Wycombe, and to Reading, and to MK Dons, he said slightly begrudgingly, for actually taking it seriously, and may that continue as well. Be nice to see us in the competition again next year. And really nice advert for Sam Grace and his up and coming sort of side and players as well. That he's kind of discovered a great opportunity for them to have a run out. Yeah, definitely. And a shame that actually that they couldn't go all the way and couldn't get to the final, because that would have obviously been really, really good for them. But yeah, nice to see that the B team development squad, whatever you want to call it, it's been called so many different things, hasn't it, over the past few years? But yes, I think we could just call it Sam Grace's boys. Nice to see them, actually getting some experience and getting some game time. Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear part 2 of Rob's chat with Bob. Yeah, that's right around, isn't it? Yes. You start either way around, really, couldn't you? I just realised. You could. Two people speaking a conversation, indeed. That's how it works. Either way works. Yeah. In Louisiana, a fortnight ago now. Yes, it was. You can hear the full chat on the website. A reminder as well that the full interviews with David Stockdale and Gareth Ainsworth are available on Wanderers TV as well, if you'd like to hear a bit more of those. Perhaps a bit more wind from Portsmouth as well. It did sound quite... You can see why it's down on the coast, can't you? Yes. I was quite impressed. Because David Stockdale said you could see the wind, which really? I thought was a strange thing to say. Yes. You can't usually see wind, can you? No, not normally. Oh, but if you've got corner flags, then I suppose. Absolutely, that's a good point, yes, yeah. That's why you have the corner flags. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And to see where to take the corners from. Yes, that's right. In case you think you've wandered onto a golf course or something. Next week, we'll do more on the basics of football. Next week, the throw-in. Join us for that. Part 2 of the Wycombe Wanderers Show on the way. Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound. Can you put your ukulele away, please? Still to come on the show, we will be hearing from Rob Couhig when I went out to Louisiana. We also have to say a big thank you as well to everyone who has said nice comments about the interview, because you can get the interview as a podcast, the whole thing. It's been said it's in a slight Louis Theroux style, which I promise I didn't do deliberately. But anyway, we have got some nice comments about it, which we will mention later on in the programme. All for the cost of absolutely nothing as well. You could listen to that, can't you? You can, yes. It's completely free. But it's very entertaining. Well, not entertaining. Well, it's a bit entertaining. There's some entertaining bits. Yeah. I didn't set out to make it boring. First, though, I've been catching up with Scott McGleish, who you might recall was a striker at the club from... Cult hero. Absolutely. 2007 to 2009. Scored plenty of goals as well. A couple of goals of the season thrown in there as well. Brought in under Paul Lambert, of course. In fact, here's how he first joined the club. A bit of a strange one, to be fair. Year before, played against Wycombe when John Gorman was in charge, from when I was at Northampton, and I met John in the summer after that, and he said, I wanted to sign you at Wycombe, blah, blah, blah. He goes, but we'll cross paths at some point. And then literally later that summer, Colin Calderwood left Northampton, John took over, and that was it. I was there. I was signing with John, but not at Wycombe. And then when John resigned from Northampton, he'd been asked to put me on the transfer list, and the other two strikers as well. And John said, I'm not putting Scott on. He's the captain. He's our talisman. So no, I'm not putting Scott on the transfer list. But he subsequently left. I got put on the transfer list a couple of months later. I think it was in the end of Jan. Paul and Wycombe coming in to take me on a transfer. I think I'd scored 5 in the last 7 games or something. So they were doing well. Wycombe, Northampton were in League 1 by then. And he come in to buy me. So it was really strange how it happened. It went from getting promoted the year before to being placed on the transfer list by the chairman at Northampton. Didn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden there was a call saying, Wycombe have come in for you. The manager at the time was Stuart Gray at Northampton. He said, I don't want you to go, but you got to be able to go and talk to them and go talk. I want you to talk, but I'd like you to come back. But I went and spoke with Paul, and I was happy with what we were talking about and the project, and I decided the move was right for me. So it must have been such a sort of interesting time in your career. Yeah, like I say, I'd stayed mainly at clubs for like 2-3 years. That's what happens in the
sort of League One, League Two. But I'd scored goals, and as a striker, that's your main role. So, but I think it was more to come in and back up to start with what was already there, because that year for Wycombe, they were doing really well in the league, but they were in the semi-finals of the League Cup, and Tommy Mooney and Jermaine Easter were scoring goals for fun. So I think the initial idea was to come in and put pressure on those two, but also release some sort of, not stresses off them, but knowing that we could rest them in certain games, and I'd go in and be just as good as such. And that's how it really was to start with. I was mainly backup when I first went there, which was obviously a bit strange for me, because I'd come from a team that I was playing at, a division above, to then literally sit there, take my turn as a sub. And in a way it was strange, but in a way it was probably the right thing, because Jermaine and Tommy didn't deserve to be dropped for me. They were scoring goals and doing real early part of the season before I got there.
But once you did start to get around in the team, you must have felt that you really kind of hit the ground running and were really pleased with your own form as well.
Yeah, me and Paul had a chat in the summer, and he said to me that I made a little bit of a mistake. Obviously, I stuck with the other two boys because of what they'd done. You haven't really had a run in the team, but don't worry, this summer you will. Tommy was leaving, Jermaine was looking to leave. He goes, this season you'll get your chance. I was like, yeah, listen, like anybody, all you want is a chance to earn your shirt, and then it's down to you to keep the shirt. And like I say, that year, I think it was 26 league goals. So I proved myself right, and obviously Paul had proved himself right in signing me.
It must have felt a great time to be sort of contributing as well, because obviously getting to the playoffs that year too.
Yeah, and that's the thing you want. You want to be able to progress. You want the team to be up at the top end, so you're challenging for things. And as a striker, you want to be scoring goals that can help you do that. And like I say, thankfully, I was able to do that. But the team as a whole was scoring goals, which was good.
And you got 2 goals of the season as well, voted for by the fans. That must have meant a lot to you.
Yeah, obviously, getting any award is nice. It is a team sport, but getting any personal award is nice. But any award you get off the fans just means a little bit more, because they're the ones who pay to go and watch you, and they're the ones who see you week in, week out. And if you can get something off of them, that means you delivered week in, week out. And
you must have had a really great relationship with Paul Lambert as well.
Yeah, like I say, Paul, I think he gets it from Martin O'Neill. It was when I first come in, unless we had a Tuesday night game, you kind of didn't see him early part of the week. Obviously, he had his family he had to contend with in Scotland, so he back and forth a little. But he didn't want people or players to be friendly with him. It weren't like, oh, we're friends. There was a relationship. It was a manager and a player. Yes, everyone got on with him, and there was banter and all that as well, but there was a strict line of professionalism. So when he was in, it was like, right, the manager's here, I've got to sort of make sure I'm on my game, I'm on my training session, I'm not mucking about. I think he might have got that from Martin, but yeah, I mean, Paul told me, you know, Scott, look, just keep doing what you're doing. I can't teach you how to score goals. He goes, because that was never my role. So for what you're doing, you're scoring goals, you're getting yourself in the right positions, keep doing it. So it just gives you belief in yourself when people say that to you.
And also as well, from many ex-players we speak to from different areas, they really comment on the great camaraderie among the team in the dressing room. Was that something that you felt in the time that you were at the club?
Yeah. We had some, to be fair, I say characters. We had some good players in there. I mean, Tommy Dock, Gary Holt, Sergio Torres, Stefan Oates. I mean, you're talking there's midfielders there. Matty Bloomfield, who's still there. We had some really, really good characters in there. And then you've got like some Mike Williamson and Russell Martin who have gone on and gone into the highest levels. So the camaraderie between everybody was fantastic. We all wanted the same goal, but we all also enjoyed each other's company, and that's quite rare. As a club, at that time, it was going well. The season before, semi-finals of the League Cup as a League Two club. That second year, riding high and ended up in the playoffs. Yes, we got beat, but in the playoffs. So as a club, from the outside in, it looked fantastic. And at the time, for the players, it was fantastic. Anything we wanted to do, we could do together. We travelled, we got prepared right. We had everything we needed. You couldn't fault it at the time.
And overall, how do you look back at your time at the club?
I look at it as a success. Obviously, a tinge of not regret, because I never regret anything. I do. You have to live with it. But a bit of a sadness the way it ended. But that's football.
No, definitely. And are there any particular games or goals or occasions that really stand out from your time at Adams Park?
Probably the easiest one to stand out would be Mansfield away. We won 4-0 and I got all four, even though they tried to say one of them was an own goal. But I remember that we had the red and white quarters kit on, windy night, and we beat Mansfield 4-0. So that stands out. The playoff semi-final against Stockport was obviously a bitter memory, but again, like I say, that's football. These are the highs and lows you've got to get on with.
It's fantastic that occasions like that really do stand out, though, because obviously you've made so many appearances, and huge congratulations for over 1,000. It must be something you must be so proud of.
Yeah, I mean, they say over 1,000. I mean, that's 1,000 still counting, because obviously I'm still playing Step 5 non-league. But I think if they want to call it the professional game, it was 800, I believe. So, but yeah, 800 in any professional level. Considering I didn't do an apprenticeship, I started in non-league. I jumped 7 divisions as a 20-year-old, and never would have thought I'd get anywhere near 800 professional games. Yeah, I'm very proud of it.
You must see someone like Adebayo Akinfenwa retiring this season and thinking, well, I'm still playing, I'm still...
Well, yeah, I've moved back a bit now. I mean, I'm assistant manager, but it becomes player assistant manager, and yeah, I tend to fill in up front if need be, or play centre half if need be.
And do you have any other sort of particular sort of favourite clubs that you've been at? I mean, you had a couple of spells at Chesham, obviously locally. You say Northampton did really well there as well.
Yeah, Northampton. I mean, if you look at my career, I've kind of been at a club, gone away, come back, be it on loan or another period. But Northampton was a really good period for me. But obviously, Orient 4 times technically I was there, and that kind of become your spiritual home, because I've been there so many times over the period of my career.
And do you look back at sort of favourite goals, obviously, you've had? Obviously, you've scored so many, but are there particular sort of really standout goals that you remember, or just pleased to still be doing it? No,
obviously, there's a few standout goals. Northampton, we won 1-0 against Chester, and I scored it, and that got guaranteed us second place and promotion. So that one stands out pretty easy. And then I had a couple for Colchester. I scored an overhead kick against Bristol City. I think that was my 100th goal, so it's just stood in my mind. I mean, one for Northampton ended up being against Bristol Rovers, and it was like my 100th league goal. So I had a 100th career goal and then a 100th league goal against either side of Bristol. But I do actually remember a goal. I remember the goal. I can't remember if it was Northampton or Colchester against Wycombe. It got played over the top. I ran on, took a chest, and then sort of volleyed it from 25 yards over the advancing keeper at Adams Park. So I'm not sure that'll go down too well, remembering that one.
No, perhaps keep that quiet. It must be so nice for you to be in the position that you're in as well. I'm sure you get younger players, asking advice all the time, and obviously that you've sort of been there and done it. Yeah,
so this year when I was at Leverstock, we took over in the summer. Not that you go in and promote what you've done or nothing. I kept it quite quiet. A lot of the boys there knew that I'd played football, and you're talking 10 years ago, I stopped playing professionally, but there's a few there, 18 to sort of 21-year-olds who weren't quite sure or didn't know that I actually played professionally, and I never told them. You're coaching them, and they're like, okay, they're listening. And then all of a sudden, one of the older boys in the team had said, you do know Scott played, don't you? And they're like, and the next training session, you can see their ears prick up a bit more. They've Googled me or they've looked on video, and one of them actually said, you actually played? I went, yeah. And then there's a sort of different sort of dynamics then. Players are now like, whoa, Scott, what can I do to improve? How do I do this? Where before they just thought you were a non-league coach and they're trying to step forward and go higher. Now all of a sudden they're tapping into you, like you say, going, what do I need to prove on? How do I do it? Is there any help you can give me? And like any coach, that's what you try and do. My role at this club I'm at now is to develop the players. And if they move on to higher and better things, then hopefully I'll play a small part in that.
And do you look back on your career with such pride? Because obviously it's such longevity as well, and the goals that you've scored and the difference you've made to so many clubs as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, when I started, I was an apprentice electrician, and I gave that up. I took the final exam after signing for Charlton, and I actually failed it. So that was a big step. That I walked away from a job for a year's contract. I actually took the exam the following summer and passed it, because I thought otherwise I've wasted 3 years of college. But that following summer, when Charlton released me, I was like, well, what do I do now? I've given up work. I've given up a full-time job. And the Charlton reserve team manager, Keith Peacock, said, don't you worry, I've had 8 clubs phone up, 6 are definitely interested. So to go from an apprentice electrician, giving up my work, to accept a 1-year contract, to end up still playing professionally 18 years later, I'm mightily proud of it.
I'm guessing you still keep an eye out for how Wycombe are doing as well. Obviously fantastic to have been in the Championship for a season and doing pretty well in League One as well, competing with the top 6.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a shame that when they were in the Championship, that obviously we see what's happened with Derby and that they've literally stayed out on goal difference, and things could have been different. But more importantly, that they couldn't get the fans, because that one season, stay up or get relegated as they did on goal difference, the finances that could have been generated would have set the club up even more so. But it's not stopped them. They're still in with a shout of getting promoted again through the playoffs, and we've seen them in the playoffs once or twice before, and recently the record's been good.
Well, that's obviously for someone from a first-hand experience, because as a fan it feels like the playoffs are such a lottery. Is it like that when you're playing in them?
They're not my favourite. I think I had 4 goes at the playoffs, or 5, and then 3 goes at the Johnston Paint League Trophy sort of area final at the time, and never once got to the playoff or the showcase final. So, yeah, they're definitely not my favourite, the playoffs, but they make the season interesting for a lot longer, because you look at it now, some of the teams are clear, and if it was just the automatic places, then there wouldn't be a lot to play for some of the clubs. But it definitely keeps the interest in. It generates more money for every team. And it's been around so long now, it's second nature. But I never got to the final, but I can only imagine they are the best feeling in the world if you go up. When you don't go up, it's got to be the worst feeling in the world, because you don't even get a trophy, you don't even get a runners-up medal or nothing. You just literally walk off the pitch. You're not promoted. End of.
It's very strange, but I guess that's what we like about football, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you get to a cup final, they get a runners-up medal. You get into a playoff final, yes, it says final, but it's either you go up or you don't. So that's why. And you tend to see a lot of teams have a little bit of a hangover, and all the ones who get sort of beat in the final, they have a little bit of a hangover start of the season. I know we did when we was at Barnet. We got there, and then the next year we had a hangover, and then the third year we got there again. So we got there year 1 and year 3, and we had a hangover both times like that, because we never went up.
The lottery of the playoffs. Brilliant to chat to Scott McGleish and hear his thoughts. I remember going to see, I think it was Cheltenham, the home leg of a game against Cheltenham in the playoffs, and that was quite nervy.
Really interesting to hear, particularly like his non-league experience and what he was then saying about actually not telling the players who he was, and just then the change in respect when they figured out who he was. Just, really, really interesting insight into actually what happens to, because clearly not all players are going to go on and be, managers or coaches at high-profile clubs. And goodness me, our hat off to Scott McGleish. I mean, his career before he came to Wycombe was really amazingly, really amazingly impressive. The fact that before he came to Wycombe, he'd played 100 times for Barnet, Colchester and Northampton. And that was before he even came to us. And then afterwards, 81 appearances for Leyton Orient, including scoring 24 goals, plus some on loan there as well. Bristol Rovers, and then just a huge non-league career. Whitehawk, Chesham, Enfield Town, Wealdstone, Edgware Town, Hendon, Leverstock Green. Lots and lots of clubs.
Still playing now as well at the ripe
now.
old age of 48, which, as you say, is sort of our age, and incredible to think that to keep yourself in that condition as well.
Yeah, yes. For some reason, it's sort of quite reassuring that he's still playing at our age. But in some ways, then if you put it the other way around, you slightly think, well, no, really, that means that rather than just sitting here drinking cups of tea and chatting about football, we could still be out there running around.
Yeah. In the dark.
Although that's probably why he was actually a proper player and we weren't, because we just sort of like ran around and weren't quite sure what we were doing. And you tried to put people off by joking at them.
Just causing a distraction.
I think you actually said that to Gareth once. Didn't you?
Yes, distraction tactic. That's how I could affect the opposition. Just put them off. Final part of the Wycombe Wanderers show on the way. We'll hear Bob's chat with Rob in Louisiana as well. Part 2 of that. The whole of it, of course, you can catch on the podcast version of our show as well. There's an extra, a bit like the DVD. You get the the extra bonus.
You get the
bits.
outtakes and bits. Yeah. No, you don't really.
No, we don't get the outtakes.
The Easter eggs. I don't even know what those are.
The Easter eggs.
That's what they're called, isn't it, on a DVD? Yeah. I'm just looking over to Luke here, who knows about such things.
Didn't realise that. I've learned something.
Like the little exciting bits, like you get in a Pixar film or something.
Yeah. Right. That's on the way here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of the Wycombe Wanderers show still to come between now and chucking out time. We'll be giving you some very positive feedback that the show's had. Notice we won't mention any of the negative stuff. No, there hasn't been any, has there? Not
well, that's asking for trouble, that is.
Yes.
You're going to get lots of people telling you what Easter eggs are.
Don't send us negative stuff. We won't read it out.
We're quite happy. Because we're the independent show, remember, so we're quite happy with negative stuff as well.
Yes. You've got some breaking team news.
I do have some breaking news, actually, which we spotted on the Maidenhead United website, not actually on the Wycombe Wanderers website yet, and that is that Jack Waitley has joined Maidenhead United on loan until the end of the season. Maidenhead do all the normal things of mentioning sort of like where he's been and whatever, and Chelsea, blah, 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 and welcoming him. But yes, so we've seen that on the Maidenhead website. We haven't actually had confirmation of it on the Wycombe website, but I'm assuming that it's, the fact it's on the Maidenhead United website.
Kosher.
Exactly. It's not April Fool's Day yet or anything, is it?
All the best to Jack for the rest of the season at York Road, of course. But now we're heading back to Louisiana, which is not really an expression I've used many times in my life, but but you were there.
It was the first time that I'd been there, so I wasn't heading back.
What were your first impressions? No, we're heading back as in we were there last week.
We were, that's true.
And you were there a few weeks back, so we're heading back.
My first impressions, so actually when I landed, where it was really wet and rainy, so it was like, oh, okay. But the following day was beautiful sunshine, and it is a really, really good destination to go. Particularly, I think, let's say like if you're somebody who goes to America and maybe goes to Vegas or somewhere like that, and you're looking for maybe a slight alternative, then definitely New Orleans should be on your list of places to go, and they do have gambling there as well, so if you only go to Las Vegas for the gambling thing, you can go to Louisiana and gamble there as well.
And you might run into Rob Couhig.
You might do, yes.
It's that sort of place, isn't it?
Yeah,
everyone knows everybody.
Go and see Rob Couhig. Mention Wycombe Wanderers to people, and they might say, oh, it's the Wycombe Wanderers, and go and see Missy as well in the bookshop in St. Francisville. It's called The Conundrum, and it's well worth a trip. Yes, I got a T-shirt from there,
but no book.
But you can buy books, and I do feel bad now that I didn't buy a book. Sorry, Missy.
So Rob has been speaking to Bob about a number of things, as you might have heard from part 1. This week, or now, we discuss, among other things, the accessibility to the ground.
We're working on the access. That remains the bugaboo to the place. Until we get that beat, I suspect we're putting our head against the wall a little bit.
Is there ever a time where you think, actually, is there somewhere else in Wycombe we could be? Have you considered moving away from Adams Park?
Remember that I am, like 95% of owners, never 100% satisfied with the deal or what you got. My partner in this is the trust, and they are our landlord, and they are jealous about the use of the facility, as they should be. But every once in a while we think, gosh, we're spending a lot of money. Do we really want it to spend it here, or would we better off spending it out on the 404 or someplace? But you got to find a big chunk of land. You got to pay for a big chunk of land. And I'm at an age where I don't know that I want to get into a 6 or 8 year battle to put together a new stadium.
Yeah.
But we have to do something with the Terrace Inn. It is fit for purpose, but it could be so much better. I would like to bring it closer to the pitch itself. I'd like to make it a little bit more vertical. I'd like to put more hospitality area underneath or on top, or both. And I'd like the sound to come from it to be as good or better than from the visiting area, which drives me nuts because they have that great acoustical area. But we've come up with a plan for that as well. We're probably going to divide the visiting away end in half next year and sort of move half of them onto the family side.
Now, you did that a few weeks ago, and I thought it was wonderful. So you had the kids from Millbrook School come in, and, you know, because they're school kids, you know, they made a lot of noise the whole game. And it worked. It was a really, really good use of that space.
I have to tell you that the Millbrook School, we're in a partnership with them now where they park cars. And Pete and Neil came to me and said, or Matt, and said, look, we'd like to give these tickets to the Millbrook School. Well, one thing people have learned is you don't go to Rob and say you want a discount or give. I don't mind writing a personal check, but I don't want the club to. And I was opposed to it, but Pete used his goodwill, Matt used theirs, and I agreed to it. And by coincidence, for that game, we did a promotion for our subscription plan. And the guy who won, I don't know if this was top prize or the lowest prize, got to spend the day with me.
I saw.
Yeah, and so we're sitting having breakfast, and I said to him, when was the first time you went to a Wycombe game? He said, well, when I was in school, they gave us a free ticket. Okay, maybe these guys are on to something.
Definitely. I think if you could give some tickets away to a school for each different game, you're going to get some of those kids.
Right.
You know, definitely. I mean, you know, the first football game I went to was when I was 8 years old.
Oh, really?
And you know, and I've been a football fan ever since. And you know, and I think there's a lot of similar stories as well. You know, if you give the tickets to the parents and the kids, then yeah, definitely. But it was a great use of that stand.
Right. No, they convinced me.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. But yeah, so with regards to the access, can you ever see another road going? I don't even know at the other side of the club.
And I'm not telling stories out of school. We're working at that constantly.
Okay.
I in fact asked Neil, who's our operations guy, and Trevor, why don't we have it? What do we need to do? And so Neil and I kid, because I always come over there and I come up with a list of 23 things I'd like to do. But that's top in the off season. The only other thing I want to do that's even as high on that list is probably the replacement of most of the men's bathrooms. You know, isn't that weird?
Yeah, but I can understand that as well. So yeah, you know, you do. But the thing is, it's a room that you spend such a short amount of time.
Right.
But at the same time, yeah.
I mean, you want people I want people when they go there to walk away and say, "That was a terrific time. Did we win?" And then if we win, it's just that much better.
Sure. I think the trouble with English football culture is that actually the winning is, for 95% of the people who go, that's the number one thing. Now, I went to the Pelicans game last night, and I was really interested in that actually the whole psychology is slightly different. Now, the game was really poor. It was a really bad game. The
first bad game we've played in a while, too.
Okay, yeah. So Orlando Magic were much better, really, and should have been far further ahead. And the Pelicans didn't take the opportunities that they had to actually to be closer. But what really fascinated me was that, with still 20, 30 seconds to go, they would be doing things like the fan cam and the dance cam and whatever. Now, if you did that at Wycombe and we were, say, 2-0 down after 85 minutes, you'd probably get a lot of fans doing rude gestures and not wanting to know. But doing it at the Pelicans game, everyone's still having a good time and dancing around. And I thought, this is the difference between us.
No, that's...
Actually, in England, everybody goes because all they want to see is a Wycombe 1-0 win. It doesn't matter if it's a rubbish game and if it's a really poor goal. If we come away and we've won 1-0, everyone's like, oh, yeah. Whereas the amazing thing with the Pelicans, even when they knew that they were going to lose, everyone's still having a good time.
Well, you're very perceptive, because when I talked about buying the club, my brother Kevin, who is a huge English football fan, I should say. He's been a Liverpool guy for 40 years, used to fly over to watch the team a couple of times a year, knows every player for the past 50 years. Pete, big football fan. I didn't come into it that way. I was a baseball guy, which is even more like that Pelicans game, because you play 150 times a year. If you're going to get emotionally beat up because you lose a game, you got no place in this. And they both cautioned me that my natural sort of tendency towards showmanship and having a good time ran the risk of being not welcome, is the kindest term I will use, by the traditional fan. And that I had to be very careful in how I approached it. Fireworks. I am in love with fireworks.
Let's make sure that's done. Yeah.
I get criticisms from people saying, what is this about? Why are we don't need to waste our money on fireworks. And I'm thinking, it didn't cost you a penny. What do you think? Because I don't have fireworks, I'm going to have somebody else playing striker next week? How about we recognize that it's the totality of the experience? And here's, just as I acknowledged that free ticket actually got me some money, we have had many a family call up and say, just trying to make sure you guys are having fireworks because the family loves the fireworks. Now, there is a coterie of people, a strong coterie, who, if we never have fireworks again, will be happy. The fact that we've never lost a game with fireworks,
I was going to say,
works in our favor. And so we're trying to figure out if they should put them on for Saturday or not. But it's hard at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so that cultural divide, that's probably, the biggest difference. And of course, Kevin, and I'm a reader, so I've now gone back and educated myself on how the sport came to be. From the mill guys working for 6 days, and you get off at noon and you go get yourself loaded, and then you go watch the mill team play that the owner sponsored to make everybody feel better. And then you could get drunk and you could have a fight, and it was all male dominated. And one of the first things we try to do, and the reason we have Missy on the board, is that we believe in a family atmosphere. And that sort of runs headlong into a lot of traditionalists who think it ought to just be the guys out drinking beer and yelling and screaming. But a lot of the women do too. So we live in a different culture.
With regards to, say, our recent dip in form, is there ever a time where you have what we might call this sort of itchy finger trigger syndrome, where you're thinking, is this the right guy to be leading Wycombe Wanderers?
No. 2 reasons. Philosophically, I've run both of my law firms and my other businesses, and I am never a believer that, oh my gosh, you tried a case and you lost it, therefore you're not good enough. It's the body of work that I'm looking at. Are we making progress as time goes on? You can't measure in sport, it seems to me, even if you have a disastrous run of 20 games, that doesn't mean anything. It's why are you doing it? What's happened? What did we look forward to and the like? And so I have told Gareth, and this was either early on or during the run, I said, man, the one thing you should never worry about is your job security. You can lose the next 20 games, and I'm going to expect to see you next August here. He makes it easy to say that. I am convinced that he's a good judge of talent. He's a very good man manager. He's pretty good at managing me, which is part of the manager's job, truthfully. He keeps me informed. He and Pete and Andrew, I think, have a great eye for talent. So, look, if I expect to be promoted at the end of this year, but if we're not, that's the vagaries of sport, not the failure of him. Now, if he would have come up and do something absurd, that'd be different, but I don't see it. I mean, he's at an age where you know what you got. And then I watch a lot of these guys. What are they expecting the manager to do? Is he going to kick the ball?
Yeah, Frank Lampard recently saying, did you think I had a magic wand? It's really heartening to hear you say that, and really that question was for all of the people, or the minority of people on Facebook, on one of the Wycombe Wanderers groups that I've read in the past couple of weeks, where they're questioning the manager, and you think, well, this is the guy who's got us up, out of League 2, out of League 1, and surely after 500 games and 10 years, you must realise that actually we're onto such an amazingly good thing.
I hate to disappoint your listeners, but I don't do Facebook. I think I have something left over from when I ran for mayor 20 years ago. They opened up a Facebook account. I wouldn't know how to get onto it. My wife looks at it, but she's very judicious. She doesn't let anybody be her friends who's not her friend. I got a buddy or two of mine who are on it because they're like all soccer fans or football fans. They want to know what everybody's saying, and so they will call me occasionally and say, you got some disgruntled fans. Well, okay.
Everybody has disgruntled
right.
fans. It doesn't matter if you're Manchester City or whether you're Swindon.
You got to remember my background. I ran for mayor, and then I endorsed the guy who ultimately became mayor, and ultimately he went to jail. Okay? So I have had people vilify me in the past.
And you can hear more with Louis Theroux chatting to Rob Couhig in Louisiana on the podcast version of this show.
There's somebody in ITV now writing down that last bit. That sounds like a good mini-series.
No, definitely. Luke's joined us. We've got some reaction as well.
Yes. You said about negative comments. It's not really negative, but it made me laugh. Strongest team on the Wycombe Wanderers forum, the Gas Room, said the local station that seems to only broadcast to and from the car park, which just made me laugh. I thought that was very funny. Right in the middle, though, said that they really like the show. It's good listening with the ex-players. They also like it's separate from the club as well. Independent.
Yes.
That's our new catchphrase. They also went on to say that they really enjoyed the interview. Other people have said they've really enjoyed hanging out with Rob and Bob, which I thought was quite nice.
That's going to be a mini-series on its own.
It is,
okay.
This week. T on Twitter said very interesting and informative listen as well. And Paul Lewis as well has quoted a bit about the stadium and splitting the fans, which is very interesting.
And Darren's dropped us an email as well.
I was going to say, yes, thank you very much to Darren, who emailed as well, saying, love the edition where you visited the Couhigs, really different way of approaching a club owner and a really good listen. He also talks about Missy being a bookshop owner and whether there's been any talk of a new official history. Not that I'm aware of, but I'm sure if you mention that to Missy, straight away she'd be thinking, that's quite a good idea.
So there's two books we've got for them now, the ABC of Wycombe and
ABC of
History.
Wycombe, which was possibly is going to be a children's book, we're not sure. And the
Top Trumps, of course.
And the Top Trumps
We've done well with them. Dog leads as well.
Yes.
Well done for bringing that up about the...
definitely.
shirts,
Yes. Yeah. I look forward to the away and goalkeeper dog leads that will be coming out next year.
No, definitely, especially for the Mardi Gras kits as well.
Yes. And, again, obviously we've just missed Mardi Gras. And that was one thing that was slightly annoying, is that I missed going to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. Although,
bit after the Lord Mayor show.
Well, it's slightly, but actually, if you haven't been there for Mardi Gras before and you're just there on a normal night, you do think, goodness me, if it's like this on a normal night, I can't imagine what it is like on Mardi Gras night.
It's going to do the show from Louisiana for Mardi Gras next year.
The only slightly disappointing thing is they don't really do the pancakes. I know. It's like, come on, America's like full of pancakes. Why don't you actually celebrate?
America's full of pancakes.
That's great.
You know, you can't get past a breakfast without having a pancake in America. And yet they don't take the opportunity to actually celebrate a day of one of their best culinary dishes.
Oh,
very strange.
That's brilliant. I like that.
Thank you so much for your positive comments. Really, really interesting to hear that you're enjoying the shows as well. And obviously, as I say, Bob's interview with Rob Couhig in Louisiana, it's Louis Theroux-esque.
Yes, indeed. Yes, maybe coming soon. Bob interviewing Joe Jacobson's dad in Wales.
Any final words for the week?
Final words for the week.
Playing for Iraq. Talk about playing for Iraq.
Playing for Iraq. Ali Al-Hamadi went today and played for 5 minutes.
85th minute he went on, yeah.
It's quite a long way to go
It really
to play
is.
for 5 minutes, but there you go. You know,
Every second counts at international level.